Okay. So let's just go ahead, right? Because I want enough time to be able to kind of make sure everyone is able to do this three stuff, because it's good. I assist if you have any error here, then you try debugging it on your own. Okay, so I'm not going to introduce any new thing. I have a whole lot of new stuff to introduce, right? You guys can hear me, right? Okay, I'm not going to introduce any new thing because I have a whole lot of stuff to introduce, but I want everyone that's kind of wants to try to be able to run their project, create a new route, then add a controller. We're going to talk about controller later today. Add a controller, then visit whatever they did on their web page. Okay, so okay, I've done this on my own screen. I've done it on my own screen at last time. So if you want to okay, let me see. Routes developers. Okay. Yeah, so can everyone just open up their VS Code? So we just go over this together one more time before I continue. Hi, sir. Hi, Sagal.
Oh yes, hi Sammy. I heard Olaj. That's why I thought maybe you were talking to him. So yeah, I have a question. You said project. Are you talking about the one that we already have on the website that we created that we have on GitHub, or is it going to be a new thing, or is it the project that you the practice that you gave us? I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, okay. I have forgotten the context in which I mentioned it, but what I mean is at the end of next week, I'm still going to give a little practice exercise this year. At the end of next week, I am going to give like a full project on the whole, what's it called, MVC stuff, but it's not now, it's not this week.
Okay, and do we have to give you back the practice exercises, or
Yeah,
no? It's just
I'm going to send the form. I want to see it. I just wanted it to be a practice, but I want to see it now. So I'm going to send out a form maybe after this class.
Okay, and then you will tell us the instruction and how to submit it, right? Like on a Word document or something like that?
Yeah, it's going to be on the form instructions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. So yeah, again, we're going to continue from where we stopped, right? And once everyone has their server running, we're going to just try to create more routes and just play around with how this stuff works end to end. Okay. So if you want to follow along with, if you want to follow along with us, we stopped at installing Express Generator. I know most people got npm install right. Then I don't know if everyone got npm start right. Okay, so if you were here with us, we kind of generated a folder, right? Just open up that folder. If you want to follow along with us, open it up in your VS Code. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe when you have the project opened, make sure make sure on your terminal you have the name. If you type in like pwd, the name of the maybe your MVC app or Black Force app or whatever the name of the folder you generated, make sure you get it as an output. Okay. when you're in there, you can just type in npm install. Okay, so I'm going to explain what this does. So maybe next time when you need to run it, you're going to know why you need to run it inside the folder. So
hi Sammy, quick question please. Okay, so if it opens up in another terminal, is that fine? because it's not opening up in PowerShell. Like when you right click on the folder and it opens in Windows Terminal, or is that okay?
Open in integrated terminal.
This place I have bought, always the check.
Sorry?
No, that wasn't me, sorry.
Okay.
So if it doesn't matter if it's git bash or any terminal. Wait.
All right then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just make sure the folder your terminal is currently on is your app folder.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, then run npm install. So what this command just does, right, is it installs all your dependencies. So if you go to your your configuration file, you're going to see a section like it's an object, but this is a JSON file. It's called dependencies, right? So these are what your node project or your server is using under the hood to kind of listen and respond to requests. I'm not going to go into all of them in detail because it's just used internally to kind of handle your server. So for you to be able to run npm start, you need to run npm install so that your server can install. It's called dependencies. It depends on them to be able to work. So everyone, if you're in your project folder, just run npm install, okay? If you run npm install, if you notice, if you have your folder open, you're going to see a folder called node modules. It wasn't there when we generated the project, but it's going to just get added automatically because that's the folder where it stores the dependencies. But again, you don't need to worry about what is inside the folder. Did anyone run into troubles running npm install? If you're having issues with npm install, just let me know.
No, I think I'm doing npm start.
Did it start? Did your server start?
Yeah, I think it's still in the process. So it starts.
So if okay, so just hold on, let's get there, and then maybe I'll hear this. So I don't think anyone has an issue with npm install, right? Then to start your server, just do npm start. Okay, you're just going to see two commands, right? The name of the folder at start, then the name of the folder at the version, then starts, then you're going to see node, blah, blah, blah. So if you have this and your terminal is not like it didn't exit, then your server is started. Okay, so if you've run npm start and it was successful, just go to your new browser tab and just type in localhost colon 3000. What you should see on your page is welcome to Express. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay.
Sammy, does this have to go through firewall?
Are you having firewall issues?
Yeah.
It should be from your computer. Maybe your computer is blocking some ports. I'm going to look at it for you. Just hold on.
Okay. Maybe I should just click allow access.
Yeah, allow access if it shows you it's your computer. You're the one trying to pass the firewall. So yes, no one is hacking you. So if you successfully seen welcome to Express, can you just maybe raise up your hand so let's know, so I know like kind of if we are going forward, you're going to be practicing with us. Okay.
It's giving me an error. I'm not sure my installation my installation says npm error and there are like 8 lines of different things, different errors.
Okay, so you're going to share your screen. Ola, are you successful now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Taufik.
Not yet. I think it was based on like the last class, yesterday's class that I was complaining about that I was not doing with installation.
Okay.
Generator.
You can share your screen after Omo. Omo, can you share your screen? Let me just allow you to share your screen. So I know. Let me hold on. Just Omo, you can share your screen now. Jesus. Okay. It seems you're not in your project folder. You're in an assignment 2 folder. Is that what you created the Express Generator app with?
The Express Generator is in Salesforce Developer. All of them are in Salesforce Developer, right? The MVP. Okay, hold on.
Oh, no, just stay here. Go
Okay.
back one, just do CD dot dot. Go back one step. CD space dot dot. No, put this. Then LS, let me see. What's the name? MVC app. Then do CD MVC app.
CD MVC app.
No. See the way the name of the folder is.
Yeah, I wanted to say, is it
Just hit tab. Yeah, enter. Then run npm install. And run npm start. Hit enter. Yeah. Allow access. So you can just go to a new browser tab and just go to localhost column 3000. You can type that.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. But so what was the issue? Because Salesforce Developer, the MVC app was inside Salesforce Developer, and my assignment 2 was inside Salesforce Developer.
So you need to run the commands in the folder, right? So if the npm install is looking for a file called package.json, that configuration file that I showed you, and the configuration file is not in assignment 2, is not in Salesforce Developer, is in MVC app.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the npm start command also is in what's it called? The MVC app. So you have to run it in your project folder where you have the configuration file.
Okay. Right. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Taufik, you can share your screen now.
Okay.
I've never received or know that he's done anything formally. Like I said, he just informally requests for another coworker peer of his to do the work for him.
Can you see my screen now?
Before the incident that leads us to be here today,
Yes.
which occurred, as I understand it, on
Okay.
February 15th, did you ever have occasion to discipline
I can hear you.
for his work performance? Prior
Okay.
to this incident, in the past 2 months, I have verbally
So
counseled
then your
him on
MVC
2
app, right?
occasions,
From your end.
Yeah,
Can you
I
help us
created
with
the
this noise, please?
Can you just mute so I'll just be. Are you watching the television? Can you reduce the volume?
no. There's somebody here. So okay, let me just.
Okay, please, if you can just be listening to me, I think I can just help you solve the issue, right? Can you hear me? Yeah, so you can. I'm sure you can hear me. Please just type in
Yeah, I
ls.
can hear you.
Type in ls and hit enter.
Okay. LS, right?
Yeah. There's nothing in it. So
So I
did
just
you-
created this folder, and you know I said I have not installed that Express
Express.
generator yesterday. Yeah.
Have you installed Node.js?
Yes, I have Node.js. Or do you want me
Did
to?
you do npm? Type in npm install space express. No.
Oh, okay.
npm
npm
install
install
space express dash generator.
dash.
No space. Like the dash separates the two words.
Okay. So Express.
Express like dash, like no space before the after the express
Oh, okay.
generator. Then space dash G.
Right.
Yeah, hit enter.
Enter.
Then now do express. You want to okay, you're in an MVC app. Clear it first. Let me just help you go outside. Clear it. Do cd dot cd space dot, just go up, yeah.
Dot.
Yeah. Then do express. Put the name of space. Put the name of the app you want to generate. Just put MVC app. Then space dash view and view equal to EJS.
No space, right?
No space, EJS.
EJS.
Yeah, hit enter. Open up Git bash.
Okay.
Navigate to your desktop.
CD, right?
Yeah, space D, but D is capital letter. Dex D, not V.
You said CD what?
Desktop D. Just type in desktop.
Oh.
Hit enter. Let's see. Then type in express. The same stuff you try to type in MVC app dash view EJS space
Okay.
space dash view equal EJS. Hit enter.
Okay.
Then do cd MVC app.
I didn't get that.
CD, like change directory, go into the MVC.
CD MVC app. Right?
Yeah.
Enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
npm install.
npm install.
No, you typed nmp.
Sorry. npm install. Right. Enter.
Yeah. Then type in npm start. Typed nm.
Start. Enter, right?
Yeah. So if you go to your browser, okay, allow Windows. Windows doesn't believe its users can be developers, so it blocks everything by default. So go to your browser and just open up your window and type in localhost 3000.
Then right?
Colon, yeah, 3000. Your search, I think it's 3000.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah, hit enter.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have your server running, so you can just stop sharing. We're going to create new routes together. But let me just help you. Go to your VS Code and open up your project folder. Just do open folder file. Open folder. Your desktop. Desktop MVC app.
Oh, so folder, should I still open in folder?
No, MVC app. No, CCM, select
This
MVC
one.
app. Yeah.
Okay.
Then select folder. Just select folder down. Lower right.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you have your project in your VS Code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I can stop sharing now, right?
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much.
So again, everyone has their server running, right? So we can just go ahead and create routes together and see how it works. Okay, you can okay. So everyone has their server running. So at least we can go ahead. So I know everyone is following.
Sammy, I don't have mine running.
Okay, what's the issue?
I couldn't do my npm install.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Just a moment, please. Yeah. This is the package that was downloaded yesterday. But
Okay.
when I went on the terminal and then I ran the command, why can't I find it? I can't see. I ran npm install yesterday, but
Okay, so open up a new terminal now. Let's try.
yeah, this is a new terminal.
I can only see your VS Code. Do you have a terminal open?
Yes, can you see it now?
Is it a VS Code terminal or?
Yeah, it's on VS Code. Can you see my screen?
Your cursor is not even moving. I don't know if it's for me, but your VS Code is just static.
Okay, let me share it.
You can just stop sharing and share again.
Can you see my VS Code now?
Yeah, I can see your terminal now. Okay.
Okay. Yesterday I ran the npm install and I got several error messages.
Okay, so it's easy, right? If you understand that you need to run all those commands wherever there's a package.json file. So I told you package.json is a configuration file, right? So if you open it up. So if you run, so this is just to help every other person that's going to have this issue. If you run npm install, you're installing the dependencies. If you run npm start, you're starting the project. But if you look at your console, you see that you're running it in a wrong folder. It cannot see that file. So type in ls in your console. You're going to see that you're not in the MVC app file. No, you're focus on your console. Yeah, type in ls. You're going to see that the MVC app is still another folder in the new folder. So you have to go into MVC app. So do cd MVC app. MVC app. So now if you type in ls, you're going to see your package.json file, right? Now run npm install. So it's going to install all the dependencies you need for your server to run. When it's done, just run npm start. Yeah, so if you go to your browser and try to access it on localhost port 3000, you're going to see welcome to Express. We're going to change that shortly.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So everyone is okay. Tawfiq, you're you raising your hands, Tawfiq?
Yes, I have a question. Like, why is it that we had to switch back to GitHub before I was able to, run through those commands? Why not on my terminal?
Git bash. So
Oh, sorry, Git bash.
PowerShell and CMD has some kind of restrictions on it. Like I was saying jokingly, right? When you were sharing that, you say Windows doesn't believe its users can be developers. So they tend to block all those stuff. And what you just did, right? You're creating a server on your local computer and exposing it on a port. So those stuffs maybe can be easily hacked, or maybe they don't want you to expose a port. That's why it was giving you security unauthorized. I could have easily solved it by giving you a command, like an admin command. You'll be able to overwrite it to it, but I just wanted to go through Git bash to make it easier. So it's just Windows and the security.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think we can go ahead from now. Everyone has their server running. So you can just, maybe even while you're practicing, since your server is working, or you can maybe build on whatever. You can just build on your current server now. So I am going to share my code editor again. Okay, so now when I type or when I add a route, so everyone can follow along with me. All right, for meeting controls. Okay, so close this. I have my server running. Yeah, I'm going to open back my, what's it called? My entry file, right? So again, yours won't have this developer routes. I added this yesterday, but you can add routes, or you can add more routes here, right? So the two routes your page came with, or your default skeleton project came with, are index and user. So if you go to your browser where you have localhost 3000 and do /users, you're going to see a response on the web page, right? So let's do something, and let me take away this page I have here. So we have the same thing you guys have, so I don't confuse anyone. I'm going to clear my index file. I need a sample of the default template. Okay, I think I saved it here. So I'm just going to clear my index file and remove what I did yesterday. So everyone should have welcome to Express, right? Welcome to Express. It's a very big Express here. Right, so this is what everyone has on their screen. Okay, so we're just going to do one or two things, and I expect to have the expectation. Hello?
Yeah, can you come back again, please? I missed.
No, you missed this. You should have this already by default, right? So I was just trying to edit what I did yesterday, so we could.
Okay.
Yeah, you have this already. Don't worry.
Alright.
So yesterday I created a new route developers. I won't want to use it again. I'm going to, rather than we kind of appending, so let's just make this a little bit more user friendly, rather than me appending URLs on my browser, because this is like just a little bit technical. It's the same thing as going here and clicking a URL. Your browser just appends it and makes a request, right? I'm going to create three little HTML links, and show you how to kind of route them without maybe appending URLs in the browser. So I'm going to go to the index file now. I'm going to go to views, index.egs. I want to create a little dummy navigation. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to W3 schools, HTML. Let me show you how I worked it clear. I go and get HTML navigation. Element, attribute, heading, paragraph styles. HTML links, let me see. It's on CSS, sorry. I want to get a very basic navigation. We're going to put navigation bar, nothing fancy. Yeah, so as simple as this, right? I'm going to go back to my code editor. Welcome to Express, then put 3 little navigations, right? If I go to our little web page and reload, I'm going to see home, news, contact, about. So rather than having me doing this blah 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 users, so we're going to see how it works typically here, right? So I'm going to change home, news, contact, about. So previously, right, in maybe during our HTML, we what we did was we were doing href. Let me just change it to maybe default.html. This is what we're doing. News.html, contacts HTML, and about HTML, right? So if you clicked on any of this link, it's going to try to look for the HTML page, right? But right now, for us, because we're using a web server, it's going to throw an error because it expects every route, not even it expects, it's already listening for every route. So if you click on any route and it doesn't get it here, it's going to throw an error, okay? So I've created 4 little links on my index file. I'm going to route them. I'm going to show you how to route them and listen to them on your index file. So this is just basically how you're going to build a little web app, right? So you're going to create links. When the user clicks on any of the links, you have a corresponding route. Sorry, it's here. You have a corresponding route waiting for that request, and you direct that request to a custom route handler or a custom controller, okay? So if I go to my index file, so rather than having the names of the file like we did in HTML, I'm going to have it as / the name of the routes. So, okay, let me just edit all of them and I'll explain to you. News / news. / contacts / about. Okay, so let me explain this. If it were in a normal HTML static site project, like I explained just a while ago, all I would just need to do is to just reference the particular file and to navigate to the file. But once you're building a web server, right? If I just go back to this document I have and go to this little image, you're going to see that the browser, like the router, connects the front end and the back end, right? So whatever I do on the front end, as long as you are running a web app that is running a server, the requests must pass through the router. So if I go again to my definition, you're going to see is a process that listens for a request, listens for incoming requests and sends back responses, right? So if I do index.html here, it's going to throw an error because any link you click on a web app passes through your index file or your server entry file, and it's always looking for a route. So if I had, like I did before, I had it as index.html, it always throws an error. But the way to have it, right? If you remember, I was always typing /users /developers, because whenever a link is clicked on a web page, the browser automatically appends the URL to whatever was there, right? So if you look at my HTML, I have for my home, we all know home is index, right? And index is just like the base, so /. So for news, maybe if my application has a news page, I want it to be on / news. So building web applications, you use what we call endpoints or routes, not reference to files, right? So href / news, href / contact, href / about. I'm just going to start with news, right? If I go to
you deleted the home, so you might need to put it
home.
Yeah.
No, I did not delete. It's intentional, right? So I said home is our home. What did I do? So home is our home page, right? And I explained in our HTML class that you always want to, like, your home or your landing page or your entry file should be index, and index is just /. Like if I go to salesforce.com, I'm sure everyone knows that what it picks up from the server, it's the index, and the index is just /. Okay, it's still the same thing. I can as well put home and maybe use my router to route it, but it's always good practice to just put / so it will be your home and your landing page. Okay. So I'm going to go to my routes handlers where we have our routes. First things first, I'm going to create a new route. I want to handle, we have for home, right? So if I go here and click on home, I've not refreshed this. It was not seeing my progress. So if I click on home, it's not going to break, right? Can you see? Because if you go to our app file, I have a route handler for the base or the home page. So let me just copy this. Okay, yeah, we're going to go. Let me delete users. No, let me leave them for now. I'll just comment users and developers because I don't need them for now. We want to create home, news, contact, and about. So home works fine, right? But let's add news and contacts then about. So I'm going to go to my routes file. I'm going to create a new file because I want to handle a new endpoint. I'm going to call it news.js. Okay. So having news.js, I'm going to, like I said, I can as well write it right by express equals require express. I know all of them from the top of my head, but I'm not going to copy what is here because this is the handler, right? So I'm going to copy this and just paste it here. It's just the same thing with what was handled, with how they handle the index router, but I didn't just want to type it by hand. So they required express. I explained to you that express it's a framework for Node.js that just helps you handle requests and response, right? So I think someone asked yesterday the meaning of like what these two stuff means. If I have time today, I'll explain it, right? So Express is a framework that helps you handle requests and response in Node.js. So every route file requires Express and gets the Express router. So without the Express router, you can't handle your routes. Okay, so that's why we have Express router. Then this is the function, or this is what you call to listen to a route. So I've saved this. Let me delete this, right? So this is my handler. And I said last time that this is the controller, right? I can maybe when tomorrow I'm going to remove this, save it in another file or folder called controller. But for now, what I just want to do, I'm going to explain, is to do res.render. And I want to render what endpoint are we handling? News. Okay. If I save this, I'll go to my index file. Remember, I've not added the news. I'll say, let me take off users and developers, right? I'll say var news router equal to require routes news.js. Okay. If I save that, then I come here and declare a rule and say, where is it here? And say app.use. So my app, whenever you start, listen for this endpoint /news. And what router are you going to send it to? News router. Okay. So if I try this to restart my server, what I did, I created the file. If you can see under my, okay, I'm not zooming my folder. So I created the file under my routes folder and named it news.js. I copied the boilerplate for creating a basic route. We're going to get into maybe extending this file, right? You can do all that. I can have multiple routes here. I can do news / maybe developer news or Salesforce news, right? But let's just handle just the base routes of all of them. You can see how we can join or concatenate routes. But for now, I created the file routes. I listened for the base, like base of news. I rendered a news view. So if you remember yesterday, anytime you do res.render, all these functions are in this request and response object, right? Anytime you do res.render, it goes to the views folder and look for a file with this same name. Okay. Right now, if we do this, it's going to throw an error. Let me just test this so you see. So right now, if I go to my browser, refresh this, and try to access news, it's going to break, right? Said failed to look up view. news in views directory, right? Because it's trying to look for a file named views in my views folder. Remember, it's model views controller. So the controller is done. So it's our request came into the router. The controller is done. We did not manipulate any data, right? I told you we could manipulate data here. Manipulate, how do you spell manipulate? Yeah, data. We could manipulate data here. When we're done, we send to the views. So you don't need to call views news. Just if you just type in the name of the file or the view, it's going to want to look for a file named views news. So if I do new file, create news.ejs, save. Again, I don't want to write the boilerplate from scratch. I'll go to the home page, copy everything, paste in news.ejs, and just change it to welcome to news page. So let me do it like this. Then instead of express, I'll put news. Okay, I'll click on save. If I reload this right now, I'm going to be on the news page. So let me just go back to the home page and navigate to this page so you see something. So right now, I've created two basic routes in my web app, right? I have the home page, Express, welcome to Express. Or let me, while I'm here, let me change this to home, welcome to home. Okay. If I save this, I'll have home, welcome to home. If I click on home, it doesn't break and it doesn't go anywhere because this is our home. If I click on news, it will take me to the news endpoint. But if you can remember, I'm handling the news route now. So I have a route handler for news. I have a controller and I have a view. So I'm in the news page now. Welcome to news. If I click on home, it will take me back. I can play around between news and home. So this is just basically what happens here, right? They have route handlers for all these links and they have view pages for all of them. So whenever I click any of them, it just kind of handles it and sends a response. The same thing we are doing here. Home, just that our own view page doesn't have nicely layout content, right? But I'm very sure all of us here knows if we put in a style sheet or I put in a full full HTML file with styles, is going to look beautiful, right? But for now, this is just mainly for demonstration, right? And what I'm demonstrating is routes. So I click on home. We are home. If I click on news, we go to news. I won't need to create others, right? So let me just go over what I did here again. Then if anyone has any questions, we're going to take the questions, right? Then you can try it yourself. I'm going to just zoom out a little bit. So yeah, so basically what I did, right? If you go to our index page, we have a navigation. So see this as a navigation bar, even if it's not horizontally aligned, right? So when you click on news, previously, how we handle routing or links is you type in an absolute or relative URL, maybe the name of the file, index.html, but when it comes to a web app, you need to type an endpoint, right? By an endpoint, we mean a route, because your web server is what handles your application and is already listening for predefined routes and endpoints. So if you come here and do news.html, it's going to break your page. So if I try it again, I think it's going to remove the HTML and just take it to news. Okay, home. News.html. Yeah, it's going to break, right? It's not found because it's looking for, rather than it's looking for this file, is looking for an endpoint named news.html. Okay, so one thing you need to note, why if you're building web app, if you have a server running, you need to reference endpoints in all your links. So we've referenced an endpoint. You are expecting, I'm just going to reload this. I've saved this file, right? So let me just go back to home and click on news. Okay, I typed in news, sorry. Okay, so what you should know is your server expects an endpoint, not a HTML file. So whenever you have any endpoints, you have to come and declare it in your index file. So we have the index router, we have the nudes. I can as well add, what's it called, the contacts and about us here, but just so you get the point, right? So if you have 100 routes, you're going to have to declare them in some way. We're not going to get into declaring 100 routes because you have to need to kind of abstract that and create a new file for that. But this is enough for you to practice routing, right? So you can create the other two, about us and contacts, come up here or go to the route folder first, create the file, new file, about.js, and maybe contacts, new file, contacts.js. Then require those files here, right? So require those files, go to the files, declare route handlers and export them, okay? So I'm just going to go to this news file again and explain what's happening here, right? So like I said, Express is a framework and you need the Express router to be able to handle routing. So this is just like one function that listens to a typical request, right? So there are different types of requests. Well, I'm not going to that because I want everyone to practice this right now. So there's a get request, there's a post request, there's puts, deletes. We're going to play around with all these when we establish our database, right? How you have in Salesforce, you can delete something, you can edit, get, there's read, there's get all, it's still under get. There are a couple of them, right? But I won't want to complicate things. I want everyone to practice get. Okay, I can duplicate this now. Let's say and make this router.post, right? And make this router.post. But again, I don't want to do anything on post request because we are not playing around with data. For now, know that whenever you click on a link here, the browser sends a get request. So you always have to have get request for all your route handlers. Then this is a controller. I don't want to save. I'm going to kind of create a controller folder tomorrow and remove all this and put in a controller file. This is a controller. You can play around with data here. So let me just use a variable rather than a database. Let today's news equal okay, let me change it to breaking news. I'm just trying to show you that you can play around with data, right? Breaking news, Salesforce is awesome, right? Rather, Black Force is awesome, right? And pass it as a variable to my view. Okay, so if I come to my view now, I can just output, I'll go to news, I can just output welcome to news page. Then I paste in the news. Maybe the news is very, very, very long, what's it called? Blog post. I don't want to go into that. No, this is the syntax for outputting a variable. Breaking news. Save this now, refresh. If I go to news, breaking news is not defined. What did I save it as? Okay, my server is still running with old data. Yeah, so Black Force is awesome. So I hope I didn't confuse anybody, but just know that's how you handle routing to different files and back to your view. But know that this is a controller. You can play with data, send it as a variable to your front end. Then in your front end, you display the data. So what I just did here is a syntax. Yeah, I know this is kind of new in HTML, right? Because when we're doing HTML, we didn't do any of this. If you notice, we are using a view engine called EJS. We are not doing index.html, we're doing index.ejs. So the power of this is that it helps you write in HTML. Plain HTML, you can't write variables, okay? But the power of this, it helps you write and reference variables. But I won't want us to focus on this for now because I just want everyone to understand routing. So I'm going to take off the whole variable thing. I remove the variables and just play around, let everyone play around with routing. Okay, so I've taken it off. If I refresh now, it's gone. So if you have any questions, if you need clarification on anything, you can just raise up your hand. Shalom.
Hi, good evening, Sammy. So my question would be, sorry, let me just collect my thought process here. So, we have to have folders. I mean, I think you've already said that, like we have to have files for the controller views and the routers, right? So for each file, there has to be like a corresponding file in each of the folders, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the EJS now, would it always be in HTML?
Yeah, so the syntax is always HTML, but where the difference is, it gives you ability to use variables, right? Because you're building a web server and you need to be able to change data dynamically, right? So when we get to blog posts, you're going to see that you're going to change blog posts dynamically. So the use of, or the importance or the benefit of EJS, it just gives you ability to use variables with this syntax. But rather than that, the whole stuff is HTML, pure HTML, everything you learned is HTML.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, please, can you go to news.js, please? Yeah, so please, can you talk on the line 5? What is
Okay.
that doing?
All right. So this is basically what does the magic, right? And again, we are not the one that wrote the function, right? So if you can see, if I highlight on this router, you see it's coming from this variable, and this variable is getting it from this function. It's default. Like I told you, you don't want to just go into how Express works and how how Node.js listens and wait for requests, and whenever a request comes on the network, it handles it and sends to a route, right? So these are just functions from Express, and how to use it, or it has different methods, the same way we had different APIs in HTML, right? Document.get elements by ID, and you know what it does. So this is a router. This is an Express router. You just need to know that a router, an Express router, helps you handle routes or endpoints, right? You don't need to know the underlying workings. So then it has a get request. I listed them out. Get request, post request, and you can just use different you can just use them for different purposes, right? So what's happening here is this router.get is listening for a get request on the base of this news, right? So if I go to app, you see that what I did was, whenever you see the news endpoint, take it to this file, news router. If I go to news router, you're going to see that whenever you see like the base of news. So if I go to my homepage and put in /news / right? It just means the base, the index of news, right? So if I do /news / it will still take me to news. Okay, so this is just saying the base of news. We can add more. I can say, okay, let me just show you something since you asked, and it's good you asked. I can say router.get news private news. Let me do private news. So this is a nested endpoint, right? Render news. Okay, now I want to render. Yeah, I'll still render news. Let me render a different page, right? Let me render private. So you see that it's different. Then I'll come back and explain that. I'll create a new file, name it private.ejs, and just paste in all we have here. Just name it private page. If I save this, sorry, I have to restart my server. I'm going to show you guys how not to always restart the server, right? I'll go to home, refresh. If I click on news, I don't have a navigator for that. If I go to news / private now, you're going to see I have a handler for that. So all this stuff in this file are just different handlers, right? But every endpoint that has news appended to it will always come to this file. Okay, so the first one is we are listening for the base of news. That is just this one here, news. So we said when you see the base of news, take it to vendor news. When there's a /news/private, take it to a private, maybe a news for just private users. So if you go here, you're going to see it. If I go to tutorials, JavaScript, if I click on JavaScript introduction, you're going to see is /js/js intro. If I click on statement, is /js/statement. So you can declare multiple handlers here, but just know whatever you declare in your app.js is the base of it. And when you come here, you can declare multiple of them. So this is just, sorry, these are just route handlers. And this is a express router. You don't need to understand what happens under the hood. Just know if you call this function or this object and the function, it's going to listen for a get request on the news endpoint. Okay.
Okay, Sammy, thank you.
All right, yeah. Omo?
Thank you, Sammy. So I was just trying to wrap my head around everything happening. So views, definitely you've sold us, that controls what we see, right? Okay, so we can create each file like news, index, error, all that. Those are files that you created, right?
Yeah.
For the user to see. Okay, then for the routes, that one comes by default, right? From index, we copy what you copied, what you have in index to all other routes, and then you modify. Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's what I did because I wanted to move fast. And I did that because it's yeah, I can copy and paste because it's almost the same thing. But again, I can type it by hand, but most times, since it's the same thing, I always have to call a router, listen for a get request, and export it. That's what I was copying and pasting. So when I copy, then I modify. If I want to add an endpoint, I add an endpoint, blah, blah, blah. But you don't just, don't like kind of dwell on maybe I'm copying and pasting. So to understand, like just know that every router file or every route or every endpoint needs this router to work. So I'm copying and pasting it because I don't want to always retype it, right? So it needs this stuff to work. Just know if you can type it, fine. If you cannot type it, you just copy and paste it.
Okay, so basically the router is the path that it should go when it is clicked on and all that, right? Okay,
Yes.
Now for app.js, can you please click on app.js?
Okay, hold on. Okay, app.js, yeah.
Okay, so this app.js, app.use. Okay, so those routers, those paths now, can you please explain what is happening again in app.js? Sorry I know you've said it several times. I'm just trying to understand.
Okay, let me close over that thing. Yeah, so I said this is your server file. This is your route, like this is the base of your server, right? So when your server loads, it loads this file from top to bottom and saves in memory and starts listening for requests. Okay, I won't want to explain every other thing that is going on here, but just know everything you see here is what enables your server to run. It comes for you. But what you want to focus on is this route declaration, right? Because when the server starts, it loads all this file, then it loads in all the routes you declared for your application. Okay, so these are the routes you're going to declare. Definitely, you're going to have designed, or maybe a BA or someone might have designed your app, a UX person, and you know all the endpoints you need. You're going to list them here, and like you're going to require all the files, and you like command your app, because this is a function, right? It's a command, app.use. So whenever it gets here, app.use this route, app.use this route. There's a cleaner way to do it, right? Because I know some persons might be having, what if there are 1,000 routes? This file is going to be 1,000 long. The way I have modules requiring stuff, I can separate it. But for now, I don't want to try to make anything complex. Just know when this index file, app file loads, the server loads this in memory and knows, oh, this route exists, the base route. This route exists, the news route. This route exists, the users route. I'll comment it open. This route exists, the developer's route. So if I open my time now, you see it's always running. It doesn't stop. So once it loads all these things, it knows what exists and what does not exist. Okay. If I try go to my server and try to access, let's say cookies that for sure doesn't exist, it's going to throw an error, not fun, because it doesn't recognize this. It doesn't know what, it doesn't know where, doesn't know how to handle these endpoints. Okay. So this file just has all your configuration, then has all your routes, your routes, like all the routes you want your app to handle, listen to. So if you can see, we are using or listening for this app, then we are directing them to different router files to just make stuff a little bit cleaner. Is that explanatory enough?
Okay, yeah. So thank you. So what you mean is, can you please scroll up just a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so where you have declaring routes, does that, okay, is it by, I mean, through practice, we would be able to know exactly, or would we always have this declaring routes for us to easily know where to go?
I'm the one that put this here, right? Because I know that these are around the correct. Let me show you something to just clear your confusions, right? Let me show you what does the job. So I'm going to go here, right? So this is what does the job, right? Should I do this? Should I not, right? If I copy this, let me see if this will work. So all this stuff that just happens here, right? I told you that require an export just requires a variable from a different file, right? So if I bring this now, let me show you something. If I do var router var, okay, I already have express here. I'm going to take it back. Then let me just do var router equals express.router in this file. Let me show you something. Right? Then I'll copy this router.get and go to where my index is. So instead of giving it this index router, I'm going to, let me see, router.get. Okay, let me just declare the variable here. So let me show you. Index router equals this. Okay. Then app.use index router. If I save this and restart my server, and go to my home page, it's still going to work. So the thing is, what is making that whole routing stuff to work is this router, but it was just declared as a function in another file. I can do everything in this file, right? Or the express generator can do, but it's going to be super long and super confusing. So what happens here is we are requesting or requiring all those functions as variables. Then this is the whole magic. If this is not here, if I comment this out now and I start this app now, I've taken all the routes. There's no routes in this app again. And I start, it's going to throw an error immediately. There's nothing found. We are closed for the day. We are not listening to any routes. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. This is where you're listening to all your routes. Sorry, where's my cursor? So this is your app. Like this is your app. Let me show you something again so you understand. Okay, let me not go there, sorry. So to just help you, right? This express generator makes it easy for you, right? You're requiring these files in variables, then you're passing, these are functions. You're passing the function, the handlers here. So whenever it hits this route, it goes to this function. Whenever it hits this route, it goes to this function. I bet you if you do this stuff yourself, that's why I just wanted to make sure everybody's server was running. If you do this stuff yourself, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you're going to get used to routes. Then maybe from next week, when we get to other things, you're going to see how to play around with this to make it look cleaner. But for now, just keep on appending your route like this, test it in your browser, create contacts here. Just follow the pattern. So you can see there's a contact here. You go up, okay, the imported news router here. I'm going to duplicate this, create contact router, then import the contact router file, and go and create the contact file. I already had mine. Then when you click on contacts, it's going to just handle the request for you. So just play around with importing the file and calling calling the endpoints.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sammy. Then my last question, please. Okay, so for the views, I know that's clear here. That's what we see. For the modification, so are we saying what would we, I know you might have said it several times, sorry. But what here would be the modification?
Model.
And I'm sorry, did I say model? Excuse me. So what's the model here? And what's the
Controller.
What was MVC,
Controller.
right? Controller, yeah.
Okay, firstly, there's no model here. I wanted to take it one step at a time. There's no model here. We're
Okay.
going to start dealing with model maybe tomorrow or Monday.
Okay.
Then for controller, this is like, we use the tool Express Generator, right? This is a controller, but since you've asked, and it's good you asked, let me show everyone something. This is a function. I'm going to do it in two ways. I'm going to take this out. Shit. Let me remove this news. Save. So like I've explained, we don't have models here because I've not talked about models, but this is the controller. This is a route. I can do whatever I want to do in here. I can remove this function, right? I'll cut it. I'll put it down. Function news handler, request response, vendor news. Then I'll come here and just put news handler. Okay, if you remember, if we go back to our diagram, you're going to see that the controller kind of it's when a request comes, it comes through the route. Sorry, not this diagram. It comes through the router to the, comes through the router to the controller, right? So this function, a controller is just a function, as easy as that, right? A controller is just a function. If I save this now, restart my server, I'm going to do it in two ways. Port 300 is already in use. Okay. Okay. Port 300 is already in use somewhere. My system, my port is jamming. So let me change my port. Okay, so if I click on news, I think you can see that news still work, but I've kind of separated the news handler to a function. So the controller is a function, but this is where you're looking for. I can create, why it's called MVP is because the controllers are in a different folder, high floating meeting control. But again, I didn't want to go into that because of complication. So I can create controllers is inside a folder, move. I can copy this function or cut it out and create a new file, news controller. Yes, I'll paste the function and just do modules.export like we already know, because news handler. If I go here, I'm going to import var news handler equals require out controllers news controller, right? If I do this, it's still going to have the same effect because the controller is just a function.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam.
Yeah, so I hope I did not confuse you though, but just
Yes, you did.
Okay, that's why I was avoiding all this, right?
Yes, you did.
So just play around with what we have now. Just play around with what we have. The index, the controller in the router. Just play around with it. Yeah.
Thank you. It's clearer though, although got twisted somewhere along the line, but it's clearer. Thanks a lot.
I always avoid making stuff complicated. Ola?
Yes, you always make it complicated towards the end of the lecture. Just increase my confusion from 1 to 5.
Okay, I'm going to just forget you saw what I just did now. Let me undo everything.
It's not possible. Let's just continue.
Okay.
But I just wanted to ask you, the router.get, I understand the way the function was, but after the curly bracket, the first thing you see is like, it's the root. Now, when you broke it, the way you broke it just now, and you did the news handler stuff, it was a bit clearer because seeing this and without knowing that it's, because to me it's as if it's just a home page because I don't know it's the news because this is the root. So normally I was thinking if I'm going to the news, if I click on news, I will see router.create gets, then the /news before I see the function. Is it that I don't need to see the news, but how do I know it's the news page?
Okay, so I get what you're talking about, right? But this is where it's because this stuff was super separated. That's why it's like this, right? Let me do it how you want to see it. I'm going to comment these two out, right? I'm going to save this. I'm going to send all the requests in my app to the index router. Then when I get to my index router, this is how I think you understand it better like this. So this is get, this is the base, this is our index. You understand this now, right?
Yes.
I'm going to duplicate this and do base URL after /index/news, then return news page. Okay, I don't want this title variable, just return news, right? If I save this now, restart my.
The spelling is not correct.
Your name is not correct. Ah, thank you. If I send this now, restart my server again. Tomorrow we are going to see how to not always restart servers. And I go take this out, refresh this, right? My home works. If I click on home, it works. If I click on news now, it's still going to work. So maybe this is what you're asking. Then I can put contacts here, /contact, right? But the way they did it, or the way this express generator kind of defines it, it creates a different router handler for each endpoint. Then you can go in that endpoint and play around with it. But you can still do that. The thing is, it's flex as long as you know what you're doing. The reason I could do this is because I knew I could do this, right? So long you know what you're doing, you can edit it. But for now, just keep on pass each endpoint into a different router handler and just handle it in each of the files. When we get like maybe with models and controllers, we're going to see how to use one single, like I just did now. I just sent all my requests through this router. Okay. But for now, if you have little experience, yeah, you can do this. Then come here and declare all your routes. All when I mean I can do ./news, then the thing I did last time, /news/private.
Yeah.
And I do private here. It's still going to have the private endpoint. If I do /, okay, I need to restart the server.
So basically what you're doing is like if you have news and you have so many things under news, that's when you do news /.
Yes. So if you have news and you have so many things under news, you do news / blah blah blah. We continue continuously like that.
Okay. Then what does this res mean? It's just
okay.
res.render.
Yeah, good. I was expecting the question, right? Let's hold on. Let me undo my little software. Okay. So this res, where is it? This res.render, right? So as you can see, right? Let me just type in something. Router.get. You are familiar with this, right? This is a function. This is a method on this object. And it has two arguments. Param1, param2. Okay, you understand this, right?
Yes.
This is a function. The function has two arguments. Same with this router.get. It's a function, but it has two arguments. The first argument, it takes in the endpoint you want to receive. The second argument, it's the handler. Okay, so the second handler argument is the handler, but is a function. We call them callback function. But where this request and response comes from is internal, right? Request, response, next. It's your server handles them for you. So if I console log this request now, if I console, we've not used request. If I console the log request, you're going to see a whole lot of information that you don't need to bother about right now, like where the request is coming from. So if someone calls my server from a Mozilla browser, I am going to know. If you call my server from a Chrome browser, I'm going to know. your time zone, your IP. So it's the server that kind of does all this stuff for you and passes it as argument here. You can know the time zone, like the IP address of the computer, like so many stuff is here. Then the response is, I think I'm going to do it on request response, right? Then the response is just an object that lets you send a response to the user. If you see the definition of a web server here, you see two very key things: requests and response. It listens for requests. The browser that sends a request sends some information to it. You can use the information, then it sends a response. Okay. You might have, let me not even go for that. Just know this is passed to you by the server. You can play around. There are so many stuff here. Let me see. Let me console.log this. No, you said I always make stuff complicated. I'm not going to console log it. But just know that this is passed in by the server. And the way you send the user to the view folder is there's a render function on the rest object. Render is a function, it's just a function. So the same way we understood document.get element by ID, document.this in JavaScript, is the same way we'll just have to try and get familiar with the objects and methods, right? So rest.render, render is a function on the rest objects. It takes in the name of the file and optional variables you want to send to the front end. Okay, so if you want to dig deep, I sent links. This file has links on those stuff. If you dig deep down the Express documentation, you're going to see them. But I don't want you can learn about them, but what I just want everyone to get familiar with is routing. So go into controllers and modeling tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Omobi?
Hi, Sammy. Thank you so much. I don't even know what my question is all about, but please, I just need clarification. I don't know where to start from. I'm going through my VS Node and the various folders that we downloaded. So I believe you started from the app.js, which is the JavaScript for this little app that you created, and you want us to modify it to include the various links that we included in the index.
Yeah.
.js. No.
Index.ejs. So about and contact.
Yes. Okay, so Sammy, one thing I just want to request for was that I would have loved if you had given us like a step-by-step. I know you explained step-by-step, but I don't want to wait until I watch this video before I'm able to replicate what you did. But a step-by-step instruction would have helped a lot, because I'm just jumping all around on my app.js file. So I start from my app.js. For me to be able to manipulate wherever, I need to create a folder under the routes, right?
Yeah. You need to really create a file under the route folder.
A file, yeah, sorry, a file under the route folder, yes, for each of the links that we need to see on the web page.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I understand you just like maybe bullet point list of what to do to
exactly. So I know what to do, but yeah, that would help. That would really help.
I'm going to try, right? But I won't promise you get immediately after this class, but maybe from morning, my time, you're going to get it. I'll try.
All right. Thank you. That would help. Thanks.
Sammy, maybe it's possible for you to just, at least we have like 10-15 minutes before it time. If you can just go through it again gently. Maybe
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, thanks, Tolex. Sagal, let me take Sagal's question.
Yeah, hi, Sammy. Okay, so I know that we haven't done the controller, but I'm a bit confused with the app. So if let's say, so here I can understand that there is the view where we're putting our HTML code, EGS, and then there's the route that's acting like the controller.
Yeah.
And then
for-
there's the app that's acting like the routing, like the endpoints.
yeah.
Is that correct if we take out the model and everything right now? Is that a correct assessment? Like, is that correct?
Yeah, so without the model, that's the correct assessment, right? So the app, it's like an entry file. Like if you remember in your HTML project folder, index.html is an entry to your web page. So this app is an entry to this whole everything going on in here. So this app.js imports everything. So this app imports our routes, right? And in our routes, we embedded our controllers in our routes. So the only folder, the only layer that is not here yet is models. We are not using models yet, but your assessment is correct. App is entry, views is EJS for views, then routes is maybe handling routes and our controllers for now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over what's be asked, but let me see. Okay, Ola Akin.
Hi, Sammy. I'm having something interesting here. So under my views files, the extension I have on mine is Jade instead of EJS.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing? And the content is different. This is not in HTML syntax.
Yes.
Something different entirely. So where do I get the Jade from? Because I follow the same procedure.
Yeah, you follow the same procedure, but you missed a command, right? So the command we ran was express, like the name of the app, to do app, then view. You didn't add view or EJS. So there are different views, right? So let me see. There are different views you can use with Express, but all those ones kind of have some funny ways to write their HTML. They have like a markup way, and that will be very confusing because we won't understand that syntax. So that's why I always it's good to use EJS as your view, because EJS is pure HTML, but you can use variables in it. So you just have to maybe generate a new project, but run it like this. Make sure you have view as EJS. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I will do that, but I thought I did the same. I did exactly that yesterday.
You missed view EJS. You missed.
Okay, I did not call the class. Okay.
Yeah, so Pog or Jade, their syntax for HTML is different. So just call view EJS. Okay. Yeah, so one last time before, let me just, like Tole suggested, right? Let me just go over how you can, okay, I'm going to do it on my own app. I'm going to do it for, I have contacts. Let me add contact, let me make a contact. I'm going to do it for contacts. So one last time so you guys can get it. So right now I have homepage, home and news. Let me see if my server is still running. Let me check. I have home working, news is working, but contacts is not working. It's contacts now. Yeah, so but contacts is not working. So I'm going to create a new route handler so you could see how I do it, right? The first thing I'm going to do is go to my app.js, right? I already have it here. Let me delete it so you see how I added it. Yeah, so first thing I'm going to do, this is what you should have. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my in app file, right? So I want to handle an additional endpoint called contacts. So before I do that, I'm going to come here, or let me the very basic side, right? I'm going to go to folder, create a file named contacts. You shouldn't, okay. Let me delete this and just start from scratch, right? I want to add a handler for contacts. The first thing I'm going to do, I'll go to my route file, create a new file called contacts.js.
Can you guys hear Sammy? Or it's just me?
I can't hear you.
Frozen. Frozen.
Just go to your. Hi guys, can you guys hear me?
Sammy, you were frozen.
Well, you were frozen.
We couldn't hear you.
You can start from when you're creating your contact.js file.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, but you were frozen.
Yes.
I was frozen. Where did you stop hearing me from?
From where you created the contact, when you were just about to create your contact on the
Okay, so I'm going to delete this now. So I created a contact file under routes, right? So for me, I can write out everything I need here, right? I know how to get the express router, right? Require express, then express router. But for you to just make your development easier, go to index router, copy everything, and just paste in contact. So you have your router and you have your base router.get, but instead of rendering index, you just see the pattern. Since you're in contact, you want to render contacts page, right? So I'm going to delete this variable for now because I don't need it. So as you can see, my contact route is rendering a contact view. But if I go to my views, I cannot see contact yet, right? So you just have to kind of check everything. So I'll just go to my views before I go to app.js, new file, then create contacts.ejs. What you just do, right? Everything just has to link to each other, right? Since you are rendering a contact view, you need to have a file named contacts, okay? So I've created contacts.
Hello? Sorry, before you just go further, I wanted to ask, so would we have to create files for the model and controller folders as well, or it's just the router?
We won't get, yeah, you have to create files for all of them.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have my contact.ejs for viewing the contacts page. Again, this is going to be just a full-fledged HTML page, but since we are just doing an example, I'll copy everything we have here. This is just a boilerplate, right? I'll paste it and change home to contacts. I'm sure everyone understands this, right? So I'm just putting context in the HTML. So if I go back, I have a contact route in the route folder. Is sending, like the user is rendering the contacts page in the views folder. I have that already. Then the only thing I don't have now is not being listened to in my app.js. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add it via contact router equals require my contact file from route contact. Then I'm going to go down where I have my app.use. Remember, if you don't ask your app to listen to it, it will not work. So I'm going to just app.use. Whenever I see, not unsubscribe, whenever I see a contact endpoint, send it to contact router. Okay, with this now, I'm done, right? So I'm listening to contacts. I'm sending it to this file. And this file is sending it to the views, these views contacts. And if you go to views, I'm displaying an output. Okay. If I restart my server and click on contacts, you're going to see that my contact route is now being handled. Contacts is now being handled. So I now have home, news, and contacts. It's still saying contact. I changed it to contacts. Sorry. Contacts. Refresh. Yeah, it's contacts now. News, home, contacts. Okay, so you can just, it's it's descriptive, right? Because the names of the file kind of tells you what's the index router, news router. Just add your contact router, but then the next one you'll be adding is about router. Then just see if you can play around with it and just create the 4 links. And I think if everyone is successfully creates the 4 links and understands how all these links work and renders the view, we are okay to start with controllers and model tomorrow. But just play around with this maybe for today or maybe your spare time. Okay.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yeah, thanks. So I think that's all for today, right? So everyone has their server running, right? And again, one thing to remember, whenever you make a change, always stop and start your server. Tomorrow, I'm going to install the package. We're going to install the package here in our configuration file, where you don't have to always change your okay, I don't think we should shift it to tomorrow, right? Just do npm install nodemon. I'm going to just drop it in the chat. Shalom, you want to ask a question?
Yeah. So this nodemon that you want, what is this one for, please?
It's just for development, right? If you noticed, anytime I make changes to my files, I have to come here, kill my server, and start it all over again, right? But if I have nodemon installed, there, and I just start my server, instead of with node, I start it with nodemon. You're going to see if I now do npm with a different command. Yeah, so you're going to see watching parts, or is watching for changes, right? So if I go here now, I think I'm going to do this. If I go here now and change and make a change, so I'm going to add the handler for contact, sorry, and contact / Sammy, right? If I save this, it automatically restarts my server, restarting due to changes. If I go and put in contact / Sammy, see, it's responding. I didn't need to stop my server. So this is just a net kit to help always restart your server whenever you make a change. So I pasted the command in the chat. The way to do it, just run npm install nodemon g, right? Then edit your start script to look like this. I'm going to paste this in the chat. Edit the start script to look like this. So the start in your package.json should have that. Ben, what's your Ben? You have your hands up. I want to end this.
Yes. I don't know if you can, go over how I can exit the master branch to the main branch. I tried it, but I'm not really able to, get out from the master branch.
How you can exit the master branch to the main branch?
Yes.
Just do a let me see. I don't have a Git repo here. Git checkout from the terminal, right?
Yes.
Just git checkout main changes, git checkout switches branches, then put in the name of the branch you want to switch to, git checkout main.
Okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could easily see a solution for that online, right? So if you're having issue, just search for it.
Maybe I was overflogging it. I actually checked, and I did not even use git checkout wherever. I was using some other complex stuff, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, thank you guys. I think we need to end here. Tomorrow, I'm going to see, we're going to I want to do some more practicals tomorrow before I introduce a new stuff. So tomorrow we're going to go into maybe models and controllers, but just practice around with routing, right? If you can get this to work, okay. Should I share this template, like this home news contact about, so you have this layouts on your index, or you're going to create yours?
You can share it in the chat. I was thinking of copying from W3 Schools.
Okay, yeah, you can copy from W. Let me just put in the where I got it from. Okay, navbar. So this is it. I'll just make a link of here of this header. Hi, Otman.
Hi, Sammy. So is it like we are done with JS code and now we are doing this new stuff?
We are still in JS, but this is advanced JS, right? So if you have a JS questions, maybe any of our classes you can ask.
Oh.
I mean, I have a question.
Yeah.
You see that node mom thing that you said we should paste. So do we? Okay, so we replace it with the script start that is already in the system, right? Like that is already there.
When you install the node, just replace your start script with what I pasted. Just replace it with this instead of node bin dot www. Just change it to nodemon. Use nodemon to start your app instead of node. Then just run npm start. It's going to automatically watch it for changes. So I think we are done here, guys. We're going to continue tomorrow, and hopefully everyone has already practiced with routing. Okay. So if you have any questions, maybe you can drop it in the chat or you can ask tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Hello, Sammy.
Sammy, thanks.
Sammy.
Hi.
Maybe you need to communicate that to the Babatope or anyone that is uploading the video. You know, it cut somewhere so that they can, maybe they need to join it together or they need to do 1A, 1B. So we don't miss anything.
Yeah, thank you. I'll remember that. Yeah, bye, guys.